Hi, we're Rusty and Jennifer Woolley, and we are members of Northeast Houston Baptist Church. We've been attending here for a little over a year, and we have two boys who are adopted. We have Ben, who's 2.5, and we have Joe, who's 6 months, and we'd like to tell you about our adoption story.
Our story is a little bit different in the fact that when I was 18, I actually had an unplanned pregnancy. Through my church, I found out about an adoption agency called New Life Pregnancy Center, and they helped me throughout my entire pregnancy, counseled me, and ultimately helped me make the decision to place my son for adoption. And they were incredibly supportive through that process. After a lot of prayer and time and tears, I chose to place my son for adoption. That was an incredibly difficult process. It still is. It's a grieving process that every day I have to walk through.
I met Jennifer in 2004, 5 years after her son was born, and we dated for a while and got married in August of 2005. You know, we had our life planned out. We were gonna stay as newlyweds for a while without any kids and have fun and travel, and then we were gonna move to the suburbs and have our boy and girl and maybe another child and a dog and live happily ever after. We were heading down that path until October of 2007. And in October of 2007, we were diagnosed with infertility. And it was really a devastating blow for both of us.
We started to walk through fertility treatments and just trying to figure out what was the best for our family and how God wanted to form our family. Ultimately, we ended up having 2 failed rounds of in vitro, and it was devastating. Then a few months later, we were still praying and waiting, and got another phone call about another girl who was interested in placing her child for adoption. And we met with her, and she asked us to raise her child, and we walked through that pregnancy with her. We took her to the agency, back to New Life, where I had placed my son for adoption, and they were going to facilitate this for us. And so we walked through the pregnancy. We, as any expected parents would, we had a baby shower, we painted her room, we named her. And 2 weeks before she was born, the birth mother called to tell us that she had changed her mind and that she wanted to parent. And, you know, again, we were just completely devastated because we just felt like, okay, God, this is not our plan. This is the last thing that we thought we were supposed to do. And yet you led us here and you opened the door, and I thought this is where we're supposed to be. So why would you bring us here and then take her away? At one point in the weekend, a couple came to pray over us, and I looked up, and there was a literal line of people around the room waiting to pray for us. And it was just such a picture of community, and how, to me, it was God providing and saying, even when you don't have the strength to pray, I will send you the strength to pray for you. And I've got you. I got this. You know, you need to trust in me.
And here we were, with no baby, back at New Life, where Jennifer had placed her child, just sort of still asking God to reveal His will for our family. And a few weeks after we returned from the marriage retreat, we got a call from the adoption agency, and they had asked if we would be willing to show our profile again. They had had another birth mom come in to visit them, and she was interested in placing her child for adoption. We agreed to meet with her, and we met with her on March the 12th. Did you finish?
5 days later, our son was born. And we quickly switched from pink mode to blue mode. And 2 days later, we brought home our little boy. His name is Benjamin. And when I look at him, there's no doubt that this was God's plan for us. And I would have never walked in the doors of New Life and said, here I am, I'm ready to adopt, this is what I want. But God drug us there, kicking and screaming and fighting, but that's where we needed to be in order to meet our son and to bring him home to our family. And he completes our family, and there's no doubt that he is our son. Our journey to complete our family through adoption was not an easy one. It was not a straight path, and it certainly was not the plan that we had intended or that we ever thought would be for our lives. It was a path full of a lot of twists and turns and disappointments and tears, but ultimately we just learned through that process that God is faithful, and when we surrender to Him and we allow Him to work in our lives and to follow His plan and not our own, that He is so good to provide for us the family that we had always dreamed of, and we are so thankful that ultimately we chose to follow Him in that.